And good morning. Kevin Miller in the morning, KIDO Talk Radio from Bishop Kelly High School, promoting our schools, securing our future. Once again, we thank you all for joining us. Our phone number is 580-5436, 580-KIDO. If you're new to the Treasure Valley, this is something that we have done for many, many years, so many seasons. I think during the Christmas break, I'll actually start counting down how many seasons we've actually been doing this. It is the one-of-a-kind, in the country. We've been, where we go to schools. So if you're just new to the Treasure Valley, what we do is we go to schools, we talk to the educators. We still continue to do the show like we do have, taking your calls and such, talking to the newsmakers. But so many times we always say, well, what's going on in the schools? Why are the schools doing this? So we thought we would give you an opportunity to find out what's going on in the schools. And that's why we're here at Bishop Kelly, one of our very first schools that we've gone to. We've been to Bishop Kelly for years and always proud to associate with Bishop Kelly in the alum nights and the nights and such. And coming up, our great friend Rich Ramondi will join us. We'll get his thoughts not only on what's going on here at Bishop Kelly, the amazing growth, but also just the growth in the Treasure Valley from an economics point of view, certainly from a technical point of view. We'll take advantage of his past at HP as well. One of the major stories, though, is Michael Cohen is talking to the press. We'll get that for you as well. So, Rich, good to have you with us here at KIDO Talk Radio, and it's great to be back here at Bishop Kelly. Thank you very much for having us. And a little chilly this morning. Good morning.
Thank you, Kevin. It's wonderful to have you and your team back here. And yes, it's a little chilly, but it's wintertime, right?
It is.
We're a week away from the end of our fall semester, and it's an exciting time, a little nervous time for kids as they prepare for finals starting next Tuesday. But yeah, it's always a pleasure to have you here, and we're looking forward to sharing some of the things going on here at Bishop Kelly with our students and our community.
Well, everybody, I suppose that brings us back. We're all young at heart during the last weeks before exams and such, I suppose. So it keeps us young.
It does. I think with reliving some of our past, I think that's part of it. And I think one of the things I love about my job, I'm in my 9th year now here serving as president, it's seeing the growth in these young people from when they come in as 14-year-old boys and girls, and as they move through, yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Watching them grow over the 4 years that we're fortunate to have them here, and the education and development that we see in them. And finals is a skill set and an experience that is important for them to learn, both as they go on to college and when they face deadlines and projects in the workplace or wherever they, tend to serve in the military or whatever. This is a good experience for them as they finish their semester.
For people that are just moving into the Treasure Valley, can you share with us Bishop Kelly, its history? People may not be familiar with it, which is hard to believe, but there are so many new people moving in.
That's a good point. Be happy to do that. So if you go back to 1892 and 1891, when the Sisters of the Holy Cross first came out here to serve, and they actually arrived in a train to the Treasure Valley to establish a school. And that was St. Teresa's Academy. That was the first secondary school, first secondary school in Idaho. They're the same order that also founded St. Alphonsus. And they operated St. Teresa's Academy, which was K through 12, up until 1964, when they had an old building that they needed to renovate and decided it was time to focus on other missions. And the diocese and the parishes of Boise decided they wanted to continue on with the high school. So in 1964, Bishop Kelly opened. So we're in our 54th year. And grown from, a couple hundred to 400 students or so in the first years to now we're about 840 students that we serve here in the Treasure Valley. And they come from all over the valley, from Canyon County, from Eagle and Star and Boise, Meridian, Cuna, even a few kids from Wilder and places outside what we would think of as a core of the Treasure Valley. And we offer faith-based education. Our mission is focused on educating and developing the whole student, spirit, mind, and body. So our kids take 3.5 years of theology. They focus on service to their community and to their church, and they get a good academic foundation, and that prepares them for life in college and beyond. So that's who we are and what we do, and We're still sponsored by the 7 parishes of the Treasure Valley.
Right.
And very excited to be here. And, you know, a little bit of the demographics, I think people would be interested. A lot of people think if you have to be a family of means. That's not the case. We offer wonderful scholarships and tuition assistance based on need. We're also 75% Catholic, 25% non-Catholic, so we clearly primarily serve the Catholic community, but we also welcome families and students of other faith traditions. We think it's important that that's our mission, because we are Catholic. We do serve all who wish to come.
Well, and that was going to be my follow-up question. I
always try and be one step ahead of you. It's tough to do, Kevin, but that's my goal every morning at 6:10 is to try and stay one step ahead of you.
I appreciate that. Rich Ramondi joining us here from Bishop Kelly, promoting our school, securing our future on KIDO Talk Radio. You know, the idea that people think that Bishop Kelly is just for Catholics. As a practicing Catholic here in the Treasure Valley, we always get the BK updates. You have the 7 parishes, and there's an ownership of Bishop Kelly.
Correct.
But for people that aren't Catholic, really, once they come into the Bishop Kelly family, they are welcome, and they are part of the Knights family.
They totally are, and that's part of who we are as a welcoming universal church. And at the same time, those folks who come in know they're going to take 3.5 years of theology, and they're going to go to Mass every month as a community, as we do. And if they're on a team, a sports team, or in activities, they're going to go to Mass once a week with their team. But having said that, our whole focus is on educating and developing the whole student, and whether that student's a practicing Catholic, or whether that's students in a family that practices another faith tradition, or maybe not any faith tradition. We hope we influence those young men and women, not necessarily to be Catholic, but to grow in their own faith and development. And so we focus a lot on getting to know yourself, getting to establish a closer relationship with God, doing service, and living your faith in action, whatever that faith may be.
You know, we're going to have a young man who's an alumni. Matt Walling will join us this morning.
Oh, great. Wonderful to see Matt.
You know, Matt from St. Paul's works with us, a wonderful young man, went on to Gonzaga, and just so proud of his faith. And, you know, when he talks about Bishop Kelly, it's as if he's still going there today. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
I think he graduated. I'm just trying to make clear.
Well, he's listening right now, so
he's
we'll
a ninth year senior.
But the parents, and not only we've talked about the students, but the parents, the buy-in, the sacrifice, and you've had a lot of innovations, a lot of expansion going on here.
We have. You know, just one comment to make. We often say once a night, always a night. Mm-hmm. And once you're part of this community, this family, it's for life. And we have a very strong alumni group to do that. Yes, back to your original question. It has been a very exciting year. We've, in anticipation of the growth that we saw coming, both from the addition of St. Ignatius at your parish, at Holy Apostles, and the growth in the valley, which we talked about a little bit at the beginning, we knew we needed to add capacity for those students and families who wish to come here to Bishop Kelly. So rather than build just another classroom wing, we said, what's the needs that we think our students need foundationally, and then more career-wise as they think of going on to college and in the science and technology world. So we built very intentionally a wonderful Father Wilson Science and Technology Wing, which we opened on the first day of school, August 20th. And it's been a game changer, Kevin, both in how our kids learn and how our teachers teach, and in the feeling that it has as we really try and focus on meeting the current and future needs of our students. So that's been very exciting, and it arrived just in time as our enrollment grew from around 770 students last year to 842, and without that, we either would have had to say no to families and students, or we would have been constructing portables, and that's not a good solution. So that's been a very exciting, and we view it not just as a benefit to the Bishop Kelly and our students and our community, but also to the broader Treasure Valley community. You mentioned my experience at HP, 30 years there. One of the things we need in the technology world is more students who are interested in computer science and engineering and healthcare. In addition, even those who don't want to follow a career, they need to have a foundation in science and technology for whatever they do, whether they're working at KIDO, or they're going to be a lawyer or a fireman or whatever their career choice, that foundation in technology is critical, and they're going to get that here at Bishop Kelly.
Rich, finally, let's talk a little bit about the growth. We have, so much going on in the Treasure Valley. We talk about West Ada, that whole area, St. Ignatius already. They have a waiting list. It's amazing. As someone who has been here in the Treasure Valley, so involved, Mike Jung, former publisher of the Statesman.
Yep, know Mike well.
Mike, great guy, came in, did his time, and left, but he always credited you with knowing the pulse and mentoring him.
So too kind, but I felt the same about Mike.
Well,
way.
So if we could, I guess, have you focus in on being your inner Mike Jung here, what do you see with the growth and things going on here, from your time here in the Treasure Valley to where we are today?
I arrived here, my wife Georgiana and I arrived here in 1979 to work for HP, and I couldn't have found Boise on a map. I grew up in Northern California, went to school in the Bay Area. And it was a place that people back then were wondering, was it going to be a place of growth with HP and Micron? And what we've seen over the 39 years we've been here is, I would say on balance, a much better and richer place to live. Culturally, education-wise, opportunities. Certainly in the tech sector, we've gone from two dominant companies to now a really healthy, vibrant tech sector that a number of folks have worked hard to grow, and working with the governor and legislature and higher ed and et cetera. And as we see, I can remember other times when people were complaining about growth. This may be the fastest we've seen, or we're big enough already that we're starting to feel it because the infrastructure is not catching up. But I view growth overall as a positive thing. I think it's healthy for our community to bring new talent, new ideas. I also think it's something that our government and our private industry need to step up and make sure it is on balance positive. I think it's a wonderful place to live. There aren't very many of us who were born and raised here. Most of us are immigrants into the valley, and I think it'd be a shame for us who we got here earlier, so we get to shut the door on you and no more coming.
We would never say that, Rich.
No more from California, and we came from California, so and I think it's going to challenge us to be better, and I think it's going to call on the nonprofits to step up. I think private industry and public-private partnerships are going to be critical. Our education system needs to step up, and we've had a number of families move here this past year who are from not just California, but other parts of the country, certainly mostly in the West, that are thankful to be here. Sometimes we take for granted what we have. They walk in and go, gosh, how clean your streets are.
Right.
How wonderful your downtown is. You're complaining about traffic. I used to sit half hour here, or you worry about your government. You should live in this city or this state or whatever. And so I think we should be welcoming. We should be thoughtful. We should be embracing people who bring their talents and have a desire to be here. But we also need to be proactive in how we plan for it, and we'll be a better place. We're still only 1.6 million in the state, and
right. But if we could only get them to change their license plate.
Yeah, well, I bet the DMV would like that, but
right.
It's a little hard to get services there these days. That's some of the challenges. So, no, I'm joking. I know they're working hard
Sure.
to fix those problems, but no, I'm on balance very positive about the growth, and I think it's certainly helped our school, and I think it will continue to be. One last comment I would make. One of the things that I can't leave this discussion without saying thank you to our community here in the Treasure Valley, both the Catholic community and the broader community who have stepped up and helped us in so many ways. We raised over $7.2 million to build that science and technology wing, and we also grew our foundation endowment such that we could make sure we kept tuition affordable for all who wish to come, and to build this beautiful new wing. And we're working on new things in terms of our performing arts, our athletic infrastructure, and our work around our other areas in the school that we need to do, our kitchen and cafeteria, some other things. So we have a very generous community. We have folks who sacrifice to send their sons and daughters here, and a very engaged and involved community that we're very thankful for, and I personally am very thankful for their support.
Well, and finally, the return on investment from an education here at Bishop Kelly, people rave about it. They understand the sacrifice, but they see the transformation when their kids graduate.
Yeah, I should put you helping our admissions department. We have a great admissions director in Kelly Shockey. In fact, we have an information night on January 28th that I invite anybody who wishes to consider Bishop Kelly for their young son or daughter. It's just to give you a few statistics. 100% of the kids who enter here, if they stay here, they may move, they may leave for other reasons, graduate. That's something to be very proud of. And then those who graduate, 98 to 100% of those go on to some form of post-secondary, and 96-7% of it 4-year institutions. And they receive 2/3 to 80%, depending on the year, receive some form of merit-based scholarship, and not just need-based tuition, but merit-based scholarship. So I tell families, if you're going to spend $8,000 to $9,000 a year, you'll get that back in college. And most importantly, what people care most about, not just the financial, but you're going to get your son or daughter is going to leave here prepared for a life of service, a life of success in college and life beyond, and they're just going to be good people of character, which, as you know, we need more and more of those we can get. So I think the return on investment both has a very tangible financial benefit, but more importantly, the education and development of the young people that we have the opportunity and pleasure to serve here as a faculty and staff. They're going to be great people when they leave here. Not that they weren't when they came in, but those 4 years are life-changing for a lot of the kids we get a chance to serve.
Well, we thank you for always having us here, Rich.
Thank you, Kevin. It's always a pleasure to have you, and your team's been great to work with. So
we've got the good crew with us today. They're all.
Well, enjoy the rest of your day. I'll be around if you need anything. And
sure, I
always want to keep your coffee full. I'll go get
you
a pot so you don't have to walk too far. So.
Finally, your website for people that want more information.
Yeah, it's www.bk.org.
All right.
Very simple. Yeah.
You're listening to Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio. And coming up, we'll hear from Michael Cohen. He had an exclusive interview last night with George Stephanopoulos from Good Morning America and This Week and everything else. Obviously, we'll cover that. We'll take your calls at 580-5436, 580-KIDO. But again, great to be promoting our schools, securing our future. Thanks again to our great team of Ray Amaya, of Chandler, of New Guy Joel, and certainly CapEd Credit Union and Team Mazda Subaru, and all the schools that have allowed us to visit. And it's been such a blessing to be a part of another year of hanging out with these kids. In fact, I think our first class, I think they're in their mid-20s or even late 20s now, and I think we're almost to the point where we're almost getting close to an entire cycle. So I think we're just a few years away from actually having for doing this for 12 years. So we will go to the phones first. We will go to Liberal Steve, who joins us now on KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Liberal Steve.
Buenos dias, bankers of Idaho. Well, if you get a chance to ask Rich, because I think he was the man that would have the answer, when will Bishop Kelly be building another school out in the Eagle area, out in the Meridian area? Maybe out here in Wilder would be a good spot if you could put that question to them, because they got the plans and the work. I mean, come on. Rich came in 79.
You're saying for another Catholic high school?
Yeah.
Okay, because the Catholic schools, they just built a Catholic school in Meridian, 1 through 8. I don't know.
Right, but
I don't know if East Canyon County, West Ada will have a Catholic high school. I think you're going to have to wait till Bishop Kelly gets up to, 1,500, 2,000 kids. I can't speak for them, but I'm sure if there's a need, that'll happen.
Well, I hope so, and I'm not talking from any doctrine or anything else. I'm just talking from statistics.
Maybe that's a question for Bishop Peter.
They put out the best students, and that's just a fact. Made it to Tom Munn, TomMunns.com meeting in Meridian last night. John Berkers. Sat through the entire meeting. But one thing I can tell the Berkshires, it was a good meeting, but they're a day late and $1 short. I saw Tea Party Bob there.
See, here's the deal. I was going to announce that you're going to be there, but you always give us the bait and switch and say that you're coming to something you don't. So I didn't want to spoil it for them. Did you talk to Bob?
Oh, no, I did not talk to Bob. Bob was there. Pro-Life was there. Many other of your... I counted about 120 individuals there. I was in disguise. No one recognized me. No one knew who I was. I had my notebook taking notes. I took 16 pages of notes. Pro-Life came in late, and he sat down up front. He had to sit on the floor up against the east wall. But that's usually Pro-Life. In all meetings, he comes in late because he likes to be seen. But anyway, you stay fired up knowing and hemp is going crazy. But we already got 3 factories, not in Idaho, but going to be going up. Each one will be employing 400 people. No more importing hemp into the United States. It's going to be great. You stay fired up, Miller, and have a great show today. And Bishop Kelly, get those high schools going. We need your students out there in the world.
Thank you, Liberal Steve. Traffic and weather together, 107.5 FM, 580 AM. And we go live to Washington, D.C., the White House. John Decker joins us now on KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, John.
Hey, good morning to you, Kevin. How are you doing today?
Well, I'm a little disappointed that the White House Christmas party didn't happen. I've been to one of those in my lifetime, so I'm sorry you won't be attending that and everybody else this year.
I'm disappointed. I always look forward to that. I've gone to countless. They actually know how many. I've gone to every one since 1995, but it won't happen this year, and that's the reason because the terrible relationship the president has right now with many news organizations. I think that the White House just felt, what's the point? What's the point in going through that exercise, given that both sides are not in a good place? And so no Christmas party. I think we'll make do. I mean, I'm going to get over it. But disappointed because I always look forward to that particular party.
Well, John, for people that have never been, there is, you don't just, go and hang out. You do get your picture with the president. People might say that's kind of weird, but going back to the point you're going to make, I don't think the president would really would it be tough for him to pose with Jim Acosta? And that's not a shot at Jim, just back to your point of the turbulent relationship he's had with the press.
Well, that's right. But having said that, President Obama, posed with news organizations, personnel from news organizations that covered him. He could argue not fairly. I don't think that any news organization comes to mind, but that's the way presidents sometimes feel when the coverage isn't as favorable as they'd like it to be. But yeah, you raise a good point. Posing for a nice photo with Jim Acosta, that will go viral, right? That would on social media. So I think the White House says, why go through that? Why go through that exercise? Although, you know what? Last year, what the White House did was the president came to the White House Christmas press party. He made some remarks with Mrs. Trump by his side, but he didn't pose for photographs. So they could have done the same exact thing that they did last year.
Yeah, that's a very good point. John Decker joining us here on KIDO Talk Radio from Fox News Radio. So Michael Cohen cops a plea. He's going to jail. The president responding. Michael Cohen now doing the media tour. What's the reaction there at the White House, sir?
Well, the White House obviously disagrees and vehemently disagrees with what it is that Michael Cohen, the president's former attorney, has been telling first federal prosecutors, and that he reiterated today on Good Morning America, the president telling Fox News the Cohen's lying. He says that he never directed him to do anything wrong, namely make a payment that would be perhaps in violation of campaign finance laws to Stormy Daniels and Karen McDougal. But that's not what Cohen says. In fact, in the interview today, he reiterated that the president directed him to make the payments, and he directed him to become involved in these matters. Cohen says that federal prosecutors possess a substantial amount of information that corroborates that he is telling the truth.
Indeed. So where do we go from here, or do we go anywhere from here? And I guess we're still waiting on a budget.
We are still waiting on that. We're talking about a week from now is when the funding for the federal government expires, the 21st of December at midnight, and still no talking in terms of getting a deal. What the president wants is funding for that border wall with Mexico. He's not going to get it, and now it's up to the president essentially to decide whether to partially shut down the government over his not getting that funding for the border wall with Mexico.
John Decker, the action doesn't stop with the president in this White House. We're so grateful to have you on the scene.
Thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it. Have a great day.
Thank you. John Decker joining us. Remember, when you hear Fox News Radio exclusively in the Treasure Valley, it's on KIDO Talk Radio, which is where we are at Bishop Kelly High School today. Mike Caldwell joining us, the principal here. Mike, good to have you with us, and thank you for allowing us in your building.
Good morning, Kevin. Yeah, always enjoy having you guys here.
Well, we appreciate that, and certainly appreciate the great news going on here at Bishop Kelly. How does Bishop Kelly and the students here academically, athletically integrate themselves with the greater Treasure Valley area, the other high schools? How does that work?
Well, number one, I would say we, as the leadership of the school, have really good relationships. Excuse me, with just coming off of a 2-day illness. Or
No, because the teachers are already shooting hoops here. I thought you might have been shooting hoops this morning, but no.
Been homesick for a couple days. I think it starts with. We have a long-standing relationship with the other administrators, leadership of the other schools. We see a value in not just us, providing a high-quality education, but all the schools really in the Treasure Valley. We want them to be successful as well. And so what we can learn from them and what they can learn from us and how we can work together to improve the overall education in the Treasure Valley is really important. Of course, there is some competition there when it comes to sports and how we want to represent ourselves as well. But yeah, without a doubt, we have, I would say, really good relationships with the other schools in the Treasure Valley. But there's also, very much a competitive nature to our relationship when it comes to athletics and those types of things as well.
What is a student life like here? We get the theology. We heard about that.
Yeah, when a student comes here, when one of the things that we really encourage them to do is to get involved beyond the academics, and they're going to be very involved in studying and doing well in courses. It's cool to be a good student here, which is great. It's one of things that I think makes Bishop Kelly special, is that academics is important and students take it seriously. But our students, come here and we really try to encourage them to get involved, and they do. I mean, whether it's clubs or extracurricular activities or service outside of Bishop Kelly in the community or even globally. I mean, our students really get engaged with things beyond academics, which is important as we develop a well-rounded student here at Bishop Kelly. We really encourage that, and our students respond. And we have 75-80% of our students every year participating in extracurricular activities. If you come out here in the spring, in the afternoon at 3:30, 4 o'clock, our campus is buzzing. I mean, at all corners, it's just kids, in tennis and in track and lacrosse, and it's really a cool thing to see. But then we also have kids, super involved in robotics and things like that after school, and music and all those types of things. So we have, I think, an opportunity for every kid to get involved in something, whether it's an activity or something in the performing arts or something, to extend their classroom experience in science, robotics, and those types of things. So I think that's the cool thing about coming to Bishop Kelly, is there's a lot of ways to get involved.
Sure. Are you surprised when we have so many new people moving into the area? And let's rich this about it. We'll ask this to everyone. For people that, again, are tuning in and out, maybe they're just discovering this radio station as well, the idea of discovering Bishop Kelly and why they might want to send their children here.
Yeah, I think, when I hear from students after they've spent a day shadowing here, and that's the biggest thing I'd encourage. If they're in the Treasure Valley and they don't know much about Bishop Kelly, we have a great shadow program. Kelly Shockey, our director of admissions, can help coordinate that. But when they spend a day here or spend a half day here, walking through our halls, meeting our teachers, meeting our staff, interacting with our maintenance staff, our custodians, the whole package, all of our faculty and staff and other students, you can feel the culture. You can feel the vibe in the air of what this place is about, the energy and the excitement and the like I said, the culture. And so if there's new families that are in the area, we just encourage them to step on campus and let the place sell itself, because I think you spend a half a day here, just a couple hours here, you can really feel the culture, and I think that's the most important thing and what we focus on.
Speaking of the culture, Mr. Caldwell, why Bishop Kelly for you? Why Bishop Kelly for the educators?
Well, this is my 14th year being part of Bishop Kelly, and there's no place like it that I've ever been around or been accustomed to, and I think if you meet many of our teachers, many of them have come back after being a student here and gone on to college and decided they wanted to be a teacher, and this is a place that they wanted to come back to. It's a special place for a lot of different reasons. We often use the term family when we talk about the community here, and honestly, you really feel that, especially if we have a family member, a community member from Bishop Kelly that has gone through a hardship or, a death in the family and those types of things, that has a deep connection to the people that are part of this school. So it's more than just being part of a school or being part of a team. It's the connections and relationships that are formed here.
And I'm sorry to interrupt, those are in deeds, not words. I can recall the past few years there have been some tragedies, and you don't read about it in the newspaper, but you have the Bishop Kelly family helping one another to get people through tough times, whether it's donations, whether it's contributions, whether it's prayer. That's amazing. Those, again, for people listening right now on KIDO Talk Radio, that does happen here.
Yeah, I think that's, I don't know if that, sets us apart. I think other schools and other school communities, also have, those close-knit communities, but we think it's really important to take care of each other and not just each other in the Bishop Kelly community. There's, I think, a genuine care for others in our valley, in our country, and I think that is rooted in the aspects of our faith community here at Bishop Kelly, is that there is a bigger picture out there, a bigger concern beyond just ourselves and what we can do for others.
Building upon that, though, for people that are non-Catholic, they're going to go, well, this is just for the Catholics. And, being a member of the church, people always look at us kind of suspiciously and such. So could you dispel some of those myths? Are people from other faiths welcome here?
Absolutely. Yeah, we really encourage all faith traditions to take a look at Bishop Kelly and we embrace that. I think having other faith traditions here is not only welcomed, but I think it makes us stronger to be more aware and welcoming to everyone. So we want to be a place that all that wish to come have an opportunity to come to Bishop Kelly, get the great academic experience they have, but also to get everything that we offer. So we have about anywhere from 25 to 30% at times non-Catholic students here, and that's something that we don't shy away from. We're happy to welcome all students that want to be part of our community.
Anything else you'd like to share with us? We appreciate you coming off injured reserve for us this morning.
Yeah, started a little slow there, clearing the throat. But no, just always appreciate KIDO coming out to Bishop Kelly and giving us an opportunity to share what we're doing here. And I know you're going to talk to others on our team and one of our students later this morning. So we're excited to just share what we're doing and what we can offer to students that are maybe just moving into the Treasure Valley, and hopefully giving them an opportunity to come check us out and learn from themselves. Yeah.
Mr. Caldwell, thank you once again, sir.
All right. Thank you, Kevin.
You're listening to KIDO Talk Radio. Let's go to Hank in Boise. Hank, good morning. You're on KIDO Talk Radio with Kevin Miller. Hello, Hank.
Good morning. I'll make 2 points. First point about Cohen is that he's done other crimes, so he's prepared to lie or do whatever, the suborn perjury for Mueller and the team. Mueller claims that he's got corroborating evidence, but basically making payments like this doesn't necessarily make it illegal, and this is something that hasn't been brought out enough. And I think that this whole special prosecutor thing is basically the American version of the Star Chamber. I mean, the fact that there seems to be no limit to this, and no boundaries to this, and the fact that they can do things in the way that fashion to do, I think is a basic violation of our due process. And I might also make a second point in all this, is that there's a lot of differences. I think talk radio plays a big difference in this situation coming up with Trump. Then if you go back to the 70s under Nixon, when there wasn't talk radio, we had nothing to buffer or to basically stand up in opposition to the mainstream media. The media had a complete monopoly. And also, what's going for Trump in this that's fixed different from Watergate is that Nixon was doing some economic policies that were completely destructive, and in the end, completely undermined his popularity with the American people, and that was the wage and price controls, which basically were creating such dislocations in the economy that when they finally released it, prices and inflation went right out the roof, and it led to a very, very strong depression, and it also drove Nixon's poll numbers down to the 20s, which made it possible for the Democrats to go for the kill.
Well, Hank, do you find Michael Cohen credible?
No. Cohen did a lot of things that has nothing to do with Trump that he's in trouble for, as it turns out.
Well, you could say that about Manafort and everything else. I mean, that's really what it comes down to.
Yes, and he doesn't have any integrity to begin with. I think Manafort and also the doctor, I can't think of his name, but the occasionally calls into your show, or you have him on the show, who's also being pressured to lie or suborn.
Oh, Dr.
Flynn has 10 times the integrity that Cohen would ever have in his life. I mean, Cohen is a dirtbag.
All right, Hank, thank you for the call. And bye-bye. That's Dr. Jerome Corsi, Traffic and Weather Together, KIDO Talk Radio. And Kevin Miller in the morning here. As we try, like the president, to be as transparent as possible, we always want to let you know what's going on. We're joined by our leader, Jeff the Suit. Good morning, sir.
Mini leader. Sort of leader.
Not according to
if
my
the big leader is listening, I don't want to pretend that I'm the big leader. So.
But according to my employment contract.
Well, true. And
written by the leader.
I'm the be-all and end-all. It's an honor.
Yes.
Who knew? But
right.
Yeah, it ends here.
So we bring you in this morning here. You're here to inspect us, to make sure everything is going okay?
Well, when you're out of the office, I can't watch you every moment, and my cameras aren't set up here yet, so I had to come out personally. No, you know what, man? This has been a great. Thank you. We have assistants in watching you. I know that. No, man, this has been a great program, and it just made sense to come out and say, hey, job well done. This has been another great series of school visits, and all joking aside, you and I spent a lot of time ribbing each other. But when I first moved to Idaho, it was almost 5 years ago now, which is crazy. All you heard from people coming in was the education system in Idaho. You're taking a hit. It's questionable. There's not a lot of good things going on. And through programs like this, I think you have shined a light, and I've appreciated even knowing that my community has some incredible schools, some incredibly gifted educators. And I know for my son, who's 10, that's been our experience. And, all the way, he's had great teachers, great schools, people that got to know him and what he needed. And, man, BK obviously has a great legacy here. It's fun to be out here to finish the year. So job well done to you guys, to all our friends from team, from